Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 73 of the J Situation Podcast. I'm recording this on August 3rd, 2021. Man, how is it already August? It doesn't even seem possible. To tell you the truth, when I see the calendar flip to August, it does make me feel good. Because it does mean cooler weather is coming, and it's just going to be around the corner there. Not yet, but it is coming. So it makes me think about September. Then it makes me think about October, which makes me think about deer season. I'm thinking about Halloween. I'm like, oh man, deer season. And then I start thinking about Thanksgiving, and I'm like, oh dude. Then I start thinking about Christmas. Yeah, boy howdy, before you know it, there's going to be 556 data. It's a running joke now. No, just kidding. You should have that data sooner than that. If you do shoot 5.56 by 45 millimeter NATO, I would strongly urge you to buy a silencer as soon as possible if you don't have one, because those guns are really loud. Yeah, it is their nature. Where can you buy a silencer? Well, from Silencer Shop. Perhaps. The J Situation Podcast is proudly sponsored by Silencer Shop, the most efficient and intelligent way to purchase silencers. Okay? They've done a lot of cool stuff, like create an easy system that minimizes the likelihood of errors in your paperwork, and they pioneered the use of the QR code on the Form 4 so the ATF can scan the code instead of trying to use their fat fingers and mash the keyboard. Mash the keyboard with your palm now. No, it's a Simpsons joke, right? Oh no, it was the phone. That's right, because it was like to obtain a special dialing wand, mash the keypad with your palm now. When Homer was really fat, you remember the episode of The Simpsons? There's a reason Silencer Shop has grown. They continue to innovate. They do. They have a network of dealers nationwide where silencers are legal. You can use their kiosk, do your fingerprints, your photos electronically, and you cut down on errors. You simplify your silencer purchasing process. They have a money-back guarantee, no transfer fees, no paperwork errors, just you and your silencer with no drama. It truly is silencer ownership simplified. It is. That Simpsons episode is really good. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm pretty sure it's when Homer gets really fat to get on disability so he can stay home, work from home. Topical, right? And he gets so fat, he's trying to call someone on the phone. I can't remember. He's trying to use the phone, and his fingers are too fat. And so, I guess the operator knows because it's a touch-tone phone. They're like, oh... You need a special dialing wand. Fat Homer. This podcast is also sponsored by PEW Science. That's correct. Pushing the silencer industry forward one test at a time. Visit pewscience.com for the suppression rating. It is the simplest and most accurate hearing safe ratings for your suppressed small arms. It is based on true human sound perception. It's in section 5 of the silencer sound standard. It walks you through gunshot noise. Sort of like Wikipedia, but it's cooler. And there's 7 parts. They're all on the website. If you want to start with Section 5, it's probably going to be your best bet if you've never been there, because that's going to show you what the suppression rating is. Okay, it's pretty much the bottom line for sound. Okay, it's very important. It's going to give you basically a ranking system on which to rank all of the tests that are shown on the website. Okay, so once you're familiar with that, head on over to the reviews if you like, and if it's not, your cup of tea to look at all that data, that's no problem. Section 7 of the standard contains a table that's sortable with all the sound testing results to date that are available publicly there, and you can sort it and use the drop-down menus there to select what you like. And if you find something you do like, you can drill down to your heart's content with links to the reviews. Okay, it's all there, navigable on pewscience.com. Yeah. And if you are a manufacturer and you would like to use PEW Science for private testing and consulting services, there is a form on the website with which you can submit that inquiry. Remember, we are an independent test lab, and we do provide third-party verification of small arm weapon system behavior and things like that. So, if you want your stuff tested, reach out is what I'm trying to tell you. Your contact information and all the test data will be held in strict confidence. Okay, it's all private consulting unless you want us to write an article for the website, which we totally can. And some people requested that we do that, and actually, you're probably going to see more of those coming soon, very soon. So it's always great when we, PEW Science can serve our clients not only with R&D, but presenting the results of such effort to the world. It's get to show off PEW Science testing and analysis, and you get to show off a product you may not have seen. I think it's a win-win, really. Win-win for me, I think. I like it. So you can support this podcast, PEW Science, and our testing by joining with a membership at pewscience.com. That's how the effort, keeps going there. It does help. But, you say, Jay, that's too rich for my blood. That's fine. Just rate the podcast nicely there on your your podcast provider. Spread the word. Tell folks about PEW Science. And, eventually the masses will incur a normalization of silencers. And that is the hope. Okay. The general public will know that silencers and guns are awesome. They will. 4 topics for you today. First topic, new sound signature review coming this week. Maybe a couple of reviews. I'm probably gonna hit you with a couple. You know what I'm saying? If you're good, if you behave. No, it's weird. Topic 2, listener questions. Yeah, let's get back into them. I do want to hit some more of those. We're still not through the list we had. It's been months. So, I hit them when I can, and I think we have some time today, so we'll do that. You folks ask such great questions, you do. Topic 3, so we were out in the field last week testing, and theoretically, if the stars align, should be out again this weekend testing as well. But Mother Nature is apparently off of her meds. So this weather has been so insane. I'm tracking it like a dang storm chaser in reverse right now. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so I'll give you an update on that. And topic 4, wonderful new PEW Science corporate support. Huge thank you to the folks at T.REX ARMS for throwing their hat into the ring. Yeah. It's a big deal for PEW Science. Welcome to all the new PEW Science members. Your support is helping to make silencers better. It is. It's already happening. It's quite cool. Okay, let's move in topic 1 at a time of 7 minutes and 58 seconds. Okay, yeah, topic 1, new sound signature review coming this week. Or reviews, in parentheses, S parentheses, reviews. Maybe a couple of reviews. Yeah, I think so. Super hot and fresh data, really. Frankly, like really fresh. Fresh to death, as the kids say. No, not to death. Everyone's fine. No, there's no death. But there's clean data. And boy, howdy, man, I tell you, I actually was pretty pleased with some of the recent test data. Oh, man. Guys, look, I did a little bit of secret sauce in the old PewSoft there. A little trade secret. Little secret tricks from the old war chest, as it were. The 16 years of experience I have doing this stuff. It is, it's not YouTube. Yeah. We have some waveforms that are wild clean, my friends. Wild clean. To the point that I saw it, seriously, I was op checking. Bro. I was we were setting up. I was doing some op checks. And I was like, is this even? I was like, really? Oh, dude. I was so psyched. So psyched. It's really, it's a really niche joy that I'm experiencing with this stuff. And I know you're kind of like, what are you talking about? But it only shows up when you do very complicated things to see it. And really only I would know. But I'm telling you now, just so you know. Just so you know that the quality of the data is up to my standards, and that is why you're getting it. When I see data like that, I'm like, oh yeah, ooh, give it to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, yes. And so you're going to get it because I'm like, oh, this is just fantastic. I get super proud, honestly, super proud of the data and just me knowing it's good it makes me proud. So you knowing that it's good is a bonus to me. So like I don't care. Like actually, I don't care what you think about it at all because it's good. Some people, I think they're confused. They're like, oh, tell me what silencer to buy, and do you care about? I'm like, I don't care about anything except for doing this the best way I can. And if it helps you, good. If not, well, it should. So frankly, I know it's good, and it is. So yeah, I'm already happy. Like when I do this stuff, like when I do the testing, that's like this guy on social media today. Someone tagged me in a very, very large Instagram account. Someone tagged me, and this anonymous guy goes on there and he says something like, "Oh, PEW Science is a bias and he's a joke," and I'm like, I see that stuff, and I'm like, that is so funny because I am so positive and so happy about what I'm doing, and it's so good that I'm just like, dude, that like cool. Like you're missing out, dude. Like you are missing out on if you're not looking at that data and taking it seriously, like you're more behind. We've been doing this almost 2 years now, like publicly. If you're not paying attention to it, like you're behind. It's like it's just gonna keep getting better. So those guys can't get me down, man. I'm not get downable. You can't get me down. It's too good. I love this stuff too much. I've been doing this for longer than some of these people have been shooting guns. This is what I do. This is like literally part of my career. It's like people are like, oh, he doesn't know what he's doing. Okay. What do you do? I say it just boggles my mind. It boggles my mind sometimes. So yeah, you're gonna get some good data, and I've completed all of the analysis actually for the data that I'm going to present to you this week. All of it. I haven't, but I've been going nonstop because I tested this crazy test session this last weekend, not this weekend that just happened, but the weekend before that. Super, super crazy test session, right? Well, I've in every waking moment since then, like when it's time for PEW Science time, it's been complete heads down, like data junkie, data processing analysis. Like there's been no, like, like when you're eating dinner while just one, like a pencil's in your right hand and a sandwich is in your left hand, like that type of work. It's been crazy. Like seriously, like it's not even funny. So, it is taking a toll on me, and probably gonna have to take a vacation soon because of that. But, so I've been doing that. So I haven't finished writing them yet, but I'm going to finish writing them for you. So you will get them this week. And the reviews coming out this week, actually, they're going to come out of nowhere, and they're going to be really cool because they're going to show some features that have been proven by PEW Science to do certain things. Okay, they are. And when that happens, when people see things like that, what that does is the entire industry gets to learn how a technology works, how it doesn't work, and how it works similarly to certain things. Okay, and how it is different to those same things. Okay, there's a lot of learning that's going to go on in the next couple weeks. And I want you to embrace that because I'm going to be learning a lot with you. And I think this There's gonna be some things that I don't know. Is there gonna be some people talking mess from people that market and stuff? Maybe. It's not my thing. I don't do that. I don't get involved with that. But is it going to happen? Probably will. And I'm telling you what, the type of analysis PEW Science provides actually shows you what matters when designs are copied, what matters when they're changed, what matters when they're adopted, and what doesn't matter. Okay? And not only does it show the end result of sound, like the suppression rating, like the overall signature, not only does it show that, it shows the technical reasons why that changes. It shows the signature changes. Okay? The real sound waveforms, the real data. Okay? So that's why this is bulletproof, my friends. Bulletproof. It's there. It's the literal raw data is published on the website. Okay, so I'm going to continue working on this for you this week, and I am behind. So because it's not that I'm behind, it's just that I'm just not to a point where I thought I would be by, what is it? After 8 p.m. on a Tuesday night. Yeah, I'm just not I'm not where I need to be. So I'm going to kick on the old afterburners. Yeah. Do my best to get that stuff to you this week, and I'm going to give it the old college try as always. As always, hasn't failed me most of the time. Okay, topic 2 at a time of 16 minutes, 46 seconds. I felt like I was about to get kind of spicy on that last topic because I tell you what, man, sometimes people don't really annoy me as much as they sadden me when you see the trolls, and you're just like, really, dude? Like, you need to learn more about physics and science. Like, it's weird. Like when I see trolls like that, it's like, to me, I don't really get upset. What I do is I feel for them because I think to myself, well, gosh, like, are you, like, maybe he didn't have a chance at a good education. Or, his parents didn't read books to him when he was a kid or something. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, dude, that sucks. Like, because not everyone has the same start in life, right? It's the cards you're dealt, and then you got to kind of deal with those cards. So maybe his deck of cards just had a bunch of problems. Okay, let's get positive. You're like, are we going to pick on this guy? No, we're not going to pick on him. Okay. We're going to go into our spreadsheet here. You guys asked some great questions, listener questions. This is the topic. Topic 2. I just opened it. Oh man, did I lose what I did? No, I didn't. Oh, good. Okay, great. The last question, this is the biggest spreadsheet I've ever seen. Okay, hold on a second. This is out of control. Okay, the last question we left off on was question 100, sub-question 29 of the second solicitation. And this was a question from a student or student-to-be, or maybe it wasn't, but it was someone that was researching the topic, and they had asked, would I suggest going to college now with the price of college? And I went on a long answer. And in summary, the summary was, yes, if you need to go to college, go and take it seriously. And if you don't need to go, then don't. And then shoot me an email at tech@pewscience.com and we'll talk about it. And you know what? After I told you guys that on that podcast where I last answered questions, I got a bunch of emails and I talked to a lot of folks, and some of it was just so cool. Just really cool. And especially some of the young engineers, and some of them are like, there's this one guy, it stuck out to me. He was a double E, electrical engineering student. He was talking about it, and I gave him some advice, and he wrote back, and he was like, "Oh yeah, like I've been able to shadow some people, look at different people in their jobs already." And I was thinking to myself, man, kids nowadays are like super advanced. Like, I mean, there is so much information available to you folks that you guys have resources that I couldn't dream. I didn't even know about, no existed when I was coming up through that. So I just think so many of you are on the right track, and that's just really cool. So that was really cool. And anyway, so that's the question we left off on. This next question 101, sub-question 30. Do you think there is a market for a non-internally suppressed rifle that is designed for being suppressed? That's a good question. Okay, let me read that a different way. Do I think that there should be host weapons that are made specifically to which you can attach silencers, like not integrals or something, but basically like, hey, suppressor ready guns that are awesome, and they're designed to be suppressed? Do I think there's a market for that? So like a dedicated rifle that should be suppressed if you buy it. Like a rifle that's intended to be suppressed but doesn't come with a silencer. So it's not a tax stamp item. It's just a regular gun, and it's a rifle, and it's for a silencer, but it doesn't come with a silencer. Yeah. Absolutely there's a market for that. I think there's a huge market for that. Honestly, I do. I think there's a gigantic market for that. In bolt action, actually, we used to have something. It was called the Remington 700 SD or the AAC something, because it was a Remington 700, with a proper twist and thread and proper threading from AAC. I can't remember the specifics. It came out when AAC was still in business, of course, and so that was the bolt action one. That was like, people were buying that because like, oh, it's already set up to be a silencer host. Perfect. Because back then, a lot of stuff wasn't threaded, and you had to go send it off to the gunsmith. This thing was threaded. And it's like, oh, well, that's awesome. So that's a simple example, right? Now, on the AR side, I mean, I actually want to do that. I want to do that with like someone like Sons of Liberty Gunworks, for example, because they're nearby me, and I haven't talked to them about it yet, but I do want to do that. In either them or someone else, I don't care. Like, I don't care who it is, really, as long as it's effective. What I care about is doing it. And I would like to get people making dedicated uppers or complete AR rifles that are meant to be suppressed. Okay, and what does that mean in Jay's mind? Like, in my mind? Well, I mean short dwell with a gas port that's reasonable, or some kind of quick change or switch mechanism to change your gas if you need to. Maybe you could have different inserts, or you could have like a switch, or you could have like an adjustable gas block, or different gas tubes. Whatever, dude. Like, figure it out. That's not hard. Varying an orifice size is not hard. That's just a mechanical thing. Like, if you know what you're doing, that's just a mechanical problem. Mechanical problems are easy to solve. Okay? It's literally just changing the hole size. Like, it's really not complicated. So yeah, I know it can be done. Like, literally all this is just in my brain. All I have to do is draw it on a whiteboard for them, and they'll do it. Like, this isn't rocket science. It's super easy. So to answer your question, yeah, there's a market, and there's actually there's a PEW Science member dealer who reached out to me about something like this too. I think, actually, sir, if you're listening to this, I haven't responded to your email. I saw it come through today, I think, but I just have not had a chance to respond. So yeah, I think there's a market, but more than that, I think consumers need this. That's what I think. And I would want this if I was just getting into this. Okay? Like, if I was just getting into this NFA game in silencers, I would want this. And the last time I felt that way about something, I started PEW Science. Okay, so I'm getting more serious about this. Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question, sir or ma'am. I mean, I think your question was probably like, I don't know what your question was. I hope I answered it. I hope I did that question justice. Okay, because I think I know where you're going with this. Like, I don't know who asked it, if it's a dealer or not, but I mean, maybe you want to sell something. Maybe you're looking to, I don't know. That's a good question, though. All right. Question 102, sub question 31. Can I just hire you to make my silencer decisions for me? I can pay in prime steaks and fine wine. Yes, you absolutely can. It's called a pro membership on the PEW Science website. It is. No, I won't make your decisions for you, but I can certainly help you in detail via email. That is actually, guys, that is what the pro membership tier is for. It's for folks that want to support, but also just want my one-on-one help. Like, that's, I mean, I wrote it in there on the description. I wasn't blowing your skirt up when I said it. I did mean that, one-on-one. I mean, I wrote it in there. I just thought you paying two extra dollars a month. I figured I could talk to you. That's why I did it. I feel like that was fair. I mean, it's pretty cheap. Honestly, it's pretty cheap, guys. Like, seriously, like, I'm not trying to sell you something here, but but my hourly rate for consulting that you would pay for 1 hour, like for real, is like for 1 hour is more than like an annual membership for consumers to the website for like years and years. Like, it's as, so if you're a pro member, you're basically getting free consulting from an expert in dynamics and weapons effects. Okay, like, just so you know who you're talking to. Like, when I email you back, that's me emailing you. And that's a little known fact about, I don't think you guys realize, like, this is not, this isn't a game. Like, you're getting you're getting someone who's worked in target defeat and weapons effects for almost 2 decades, and you can talk to him via email, and I answer like about guns, guys. So I mean, you don't have to join, whatever, I don't care, but I mean, it's an option. It's literally on the website, literally on pewscience.com. Okay. But I will take, you can also send me steaks and wine, please. Wine in particular. If you have a good red blend, I would like to take that off your hands. Question 103, sub-question 32. Were you surprised the OSS did as good as it did? These questions are from quite a while back. So this guy was tracking when I had released the OSS silencer data, and in fact, his question might even have been from the supersonic, which it probably does, because it did really well in supersonic, according, in contrast with people's, or in the face of people's expectations, I believe. I was actually surprised, and I think I talked about this before. I was surprised. Now, I wasn't as surprised as most people, after looking at the data and analyzing it. Okay, because I know why it did what it did, right? It is loud, but it's not as loud as I thought it was going to be on Supersonic 308. I think that was the big surprise, and that's what folks didn't know. They didn't know what they were going to see. I mean, it is what it is, and it's meant for a certain platform and for a certain use, and I think it does have its place. I do. So I'm happy the analysis I did showcases it for people. I am. I know some people don't read the reviews. That's fine. And they just look at the suppression rating. That's fine. But people interested in OSS should really look at the reviews. Really look at the reviews I've published, because it will help you. It really will help you a lot. Like, it's the best data on those silencers in the world. It is. The 2 OSS reviews on my website, and the supersonic and the subsonic flow regimes, that is the best data on that OSS silencer in the world. It is better than the data that OSS has in-house. Like, I promise you. I promise. You can take that to the bank, dude. So, if you're like into OSS, or you have a question about it, or you want to know, like, does it really work? Does it do what they say? What does it do? What are its limitations? Please check out the articles. And if you still have questions, tech@pewscience.com. I will be happy to discuss it with you. And there's some podcast episodes. If you Google on the website there's a Google search. On the podcast page, if you Google, I tried to put the metadata and the topics and stuff. You should be able to find the OSS topics when I speak about them on the podcast too. So there's a bunch of resources for you to learn if you find them. Okay. Good question. It was surprising. I think it surprised everybody because no one had good data. That's how that works. Okay. Question 104, sub-question 33. Reviews on the Silencer Co. Omega 36M coming? Question mark. Good question, sir, ma'am. Actually, funny story. Well, not so much funny, but definitely timely. Silencer Co. DM'd me last week. Gotta be last week. Last week. Yeah, they did. On the old Instagram. And asked me if anyone had sent me a 36M. Apparently, you guys have been asking them a lot. I was like, no. What's up, Silencer Co.? So I sent, they asked me to send them an email, and it's like, yeah, sure. I'll send you an email. So I sent them an email. Who knows? Maybe they'll respond to me. Maybe I'll test it for them. I don't know. If I don't test it for them, I'll test it for myself. I'll test it for PEW Science, for you. I'll just use PEW Science funding to do it, and you'll get the data that way. It doesn't matter at this point. If you know what I mean? So like either way, you're going to get 36M data. I can assure you that, my friends. For sure, especially now that I've been shooting 338 Lapua Magnum. I'm going to put that on there. I mean, that's a no-brainer, son. Plus, I got the Thunder Beast to test on 338 because I got so someone sent me a break. Ooh, bro, dude, we're about to get like a 338 data set going. You thought that was going to be like far off. I'm like, no, dude, that's easy. And like, we already have the weapon. I've already done some 338 testing. It's crazy. I'm excited. So yeah, 36M will fit into that great load. How about that? What could we do? We could do the 338 with it. We could do 308. We can do, what is it? Fit on a pistol too? 9mm? 5.56? Yeah. I think the 36M does everything. I think that's what the M is for, modular, as they say. So I don't know. I've heard some things about it. I've held one. I held one actually when it first, like right before it was released. I held one and I was like, oh, okay. I was like, oh, it could be good. I don't know. I've never shot one, never heard one. Some people like it, they say, but you know how that goes. So we'll see. The speed at which this happens, actually, this time with this particular silencer, the speed at which this happens, that's going to be up to Silencer Co, man. Like, I have a lot of silencers to test, and if I test it internally, I will do it on my terms, and when I get to it, okay, because that is how that works. So, paying clients, the people that are paying clients to like do R&D, they come first. They move to the front, right? There's a line, right? Well, someone can jump the line when they pay for research. Because that's how the world works. This is a research cooperative, right? Public, you guys contribute a little bit here and there, and that helps me continue the effort. But when a client comes with a research program that's like a paid test effort to actually fund how much it really costs, well, they move to the front of the line. So then when they get to the front of the line, they can do that. There are companies who have been contracting with PEW Science for R&D that understand that. They're like, well, hey, we need this. And then they're like, can you do this XYZ? I'm like, absolutely I can. And I do. That is how the world works. So your question, sir or ma'am, are reviews on the Silencer Co. Omega 36M coming? Well, I mean, yeah, they are. Just not right now, probably, because I don't have one at the moment. Question 105, sub-question 34. When are we going to see AR platform test data ballpark, since I know you don't like ETAs? Well, thank you for the question, sir or ma'am. I'm Great question. I will offer you some constructive criticism to your question, and then you said you want a ballpark since you knew that I don't like ETAs. Well, if you look at what ETA stands for, it's estimated time of arrival, and an estimate is a guess, and a ballpark is the same thing. So if I reread your question in a way that indicates what you actually asked me, it would be, hey, I know you don't like to give ETAs, but can I have an ETA? The ETA is soon. How do you like that? I'll just use the word soon. It's easier for me. Soon. There you go. Coming soon. Coming soon to a PEW Science near you. Okay. Good question, dude. I'm not trying to be mean or something. I'm just having a little fun. I know. I'm working on it, dude. Like, come on. Question 106, sub-question 35. What books are you reading for fun right now? None, dude. Like, I don't have time to read books for fun right now. Like, PEW Science takes all my free time. Question 107, sub-question 36. Any word on the AEM5 of Allen Engineering Company? Oh, this is a bad one because I lost Ron's email. Like, I was searching through my email actually yesterday, and this is interesting that you asked this. And for the life of me, I can't find his email. And so I DM'd him on a forum because I'm like, dude, your email. So I guess I'm gonna try to reach out and see if I can find his phone number. If anyone has contact information for Ron Allen, I know one of you had emailed me a while back. You said you used to work with Ron Allen back in the day, like either in his machine shop or somewhere else. I don't know, but if you're out there and you have his contact info, hit me up. I need to call him and talk about silencers. I should have done it years ago when he reached out to me. It was at a weird time, and I just didn't. It got away from me, and I forgot. And then I tried to do it, and then I lost the email, and it's like, it's my fault. But so there's no word on doing that. Now, when you talk about any word on the AEM5 and testing it, well, the thing is, you need to realize if we test that silencer, it has to be on a special host, right? So we're going to have to define that. Okay? Or I can get something, I can either get something the same length and have it contoured, or I can do the standard platform that everyone likes with it, and then we just have that as a something in the database for people to know. And that might be something to compare with everything. So if you want like a one-off test like that, knowing that like this will be a hard thing to like duplicate, well, then that's fine. But that is definitely a specialty test. So maybe that's something I talk to Ron about, because that's something maybe he could help with, because he might even have some more ideas. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? Yeah. Okay. So that's a good question. I sorry to leave you hanging on that one. I do take responsibility for that. Question 108, sub-question 37. Well, let me wait. How are we doing on time? Oh, good. We're great. This is gonna be a quick episode today too, so this is good. Okay. Question 108, sub-question 37. Thoughts on the shortened PDW style buffer systems, both for reliability and suppression? Oh, that's a great question, sir or ma'am. That's a great question. Thoughts on shortened PDW style buffer systems, both for reliability and suppression. So you're asking, and so for those of you who don't know, so this lady or gentleman is asking about the AR-15. There's something called the receiver extension, which is on the rear of an AR-15 receiver. Some people call that the buffer tube, and inside that assembly is a recoil spring and a buffer. Okay, that buffer, you put the spring in first, right? And you put the buffer in there, and the buffer's sitting there at the front of the tube. And the bolt carrier, when it moves rearward, it's already touching the buffer, and so that all that inertial resistance is already coupled. But what it does is it allows the whole system to travel back into the receiver extension. thus compressing the spring. So you're getting spring force resistance at this point that's proportional to the compressive distance, and you have you're overcoming inertial resistance from the weight of the buffer and the weight of the carrier, and that's really, in a simple way, constituting your recoil system after unlock. Now, inside these buffers are weights, and there's a couple of reasons why there's different. The weights are separate from each other. We don't have to get into that necessarily right now. That'll kind of go off into a tangent to your question, sir or ma'am. But you're asking, well, what happens when you shorten the buffer? Let's see. Okay, well, let's think about it. What are you doing when you're shortening the buffer? Well, you're going to change at least two things that I know of. One, you're possibly going to change the length of travel of the carrier. Now, if it's a shortened PDW style buffer for PDW use, I'm assuming that the buffer that gets shortened has an equal shortening of the receiver extension, such that you've just made the entire system shorter while still having the same path of travel for the carrier. So your stroke might be the same length of stroke, but it is happening in a different overall package. So that's one possibility. Another thing that can change is the mass. So if you shorten it, well, now there's less room to put weight inside the buffer. But those weights that kind of slide back and forth in there a little bit, some of them are steel and some of them are made out of tungsten sometimes. The tungsten weights, the tungsten weights are like if there's, let's say you have a carbine size buffer for a carbine recoil system. There's three weights in there. Well, if they're all three steel, that's a normal buffer, and you put one tungsten in there, it's an H1. Then two tungstens, it's an H2, and three tungstens, it's an H3. Tungsten has a higher density than steel does, and so for the same volume, for the same size weight, it's heavier. Okay, that's the point of changing from steel to tungsten. So with a PDW buffer, if it's the same weight and the overall net length change and travel change is the same, and the third thing that could change is the spring compression. So that's the part that's going to change the kinematics. So it's all about spring rate, guys. It's going to be about spring rate. Because I think because you've changed the dimension now, your spring is going to have different compression. So so you asked, your actual question was thoughts on these things, these shortened PDW style buffer systems, and I guess my short answer to you is I'm gonna have to give me an example. There's one I can think of off the top of my head, the Honey Badger. Right, Honey Badger has this. I've never really messed with one really in a detailed way, but I went to Q and built the fixed rifle, but I didn't care about the Honey Badger, so I didn't build one. I want to say they probably have a different spring rate for their shorter buffer, and they probably have a shorter buffer. So yeah, I probably just need to get a Honey Badger, because then I can truly understand it, and then everyone wants to know about it, then I'll just characterize it, So it's a good question. I think that they probably can be good. I think done wrong, that would suck. And your other part of your question was for silencers. You said for reliability and suppression. Well, for reliability, I mean, if the kinematics are fine, reliability is not a question. That doesn't make that you don't worry about that. Okay, don't worry about that. Because the whole gun, reliability depends on the whole gun, not just the recoil system. Okay, so forget about that. Forget about when people tell you, "Oh, I only use these type of buffers because they're more reliable." No, that's dumb. That doesn't make any sense. The whole system matters. So that you can't make such a blanket statement. Don't worry about that. And your other part of your question, we were asking about suppression. Well, if you don't have enough inertial resistance and you're overgassed, well, it's going to be bad for suppression. So in that respect, could one of these systems suck for suppression? Yes. Does it have to suck? Absolutely not. Okay. How many questions? Oh man, there's so many. I'm gonna try to. Okay, we're doing pretty good on time. And then how much? I have another topic after this. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna do more. I like these. Okay. Question 109, sub question 38. My Mark 18 didn't extract a steel case round. I had to rod the casing out. Weak ammo? Steel case. Okay, my Mark 18 didn't extract a steel. Oh, so this lady or gentleman, thank you for the question. This lady or gentleman is using a Mark 18 that's a 10.3 inch barrel, carbine length gas system, 5.56 by 45 millimeter NATO ammunition in the chamber. Steel cased ammunition, which is probably steel case with like a lacquer finish on it. And you get stuck in your chamber. Yeah, stuck in your chamber. Interesting. Weak ammo. I don't know. Pot maybe. You might have a bolt extractor issue. You might have a bolt issue. You might have not an extractor issue. It might be headspace. I don't know. It might be your chamber. You need to check your chamber and your bolt. Something could be funny there, sir or ma'am. You need to check that. I hesitate to be a gunsmith on a podcast, not looking at your rifle in my hands. Like, I don't know. You need to check your chamber. You can get some gauges, check your bolt and chamber. I don't know about that getting stuck like that. It could be the ammo, but man, I don't know. I'd have to examine the gun. I'm sorry. I don't think I want to help you on the pod. I don't think that's a risk I want to take with you. With this, I'm not going to give you a solution for that. You're going to have to take that to somebody local and have them actually look at your rifle, because you have all kinds of stuff that could happen, I think. And I mean, a lot of people building their guns nowadays. I don't know. And who knows with the ammo too? Ooh, I mean, does this happen often? I would ask you that, sir or ma'am. If you want to follow up with me, send me an email or something. I'll be happy to help you with this offline, but I don't want to. I hesitate to get into this now. Okay, thank you for the question, though. All right, 1 second. Okay. Question 110, sub-question 39. How does extreme cold affect sound? Like negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit, I'm a man. What? Shoot in negative 30 Fahrenheit, be a man. No, dude. Why don't you... Dude, listen. Why don't you go to negative 40, first of all? Because that's where Fahrenheit and Celsius cross. Okay? So be a man. What kind of question is that? How does extreme cold affect sound? Like negative 30 Fahrenheit. I'm a man. That's a weird question. I can answer it, though. Well, okay. Let's get into it. Well, the speed of... The sound speed... The speed of sound in air does change with temperature. So that's one thing you do need to understand. Now, not only does the sound speed change, but the propagation of the sound will change in a certain way. And frankly, it's way too cold for me to test down that low, because the sensor diaphragms are not going to respond correctly. I can already tell you that. It's not. I don't think that's in the tolerance of the measurement equipment. Now, that's not 100% true. It's just for the certain sensors that I'm using right now. I have other sensors that I can use for these conditions. So if there's someone listening that wants to do Arctic, like North Slope, Alaska sound testing, well, okay, for like one, I've done it before, and I've done way more than that. I have tested things I have tested system dynamics in negative 40, and actually negative 45 to negative 50 Fahrenheit. So I've done that. Okay, so that's one. Two, the speed of sound is higher when it's warmer. Okay, I know that might seem counterintuitive to you guys, because it is counterintuitive. But it is true, and the reason why the sound speed increases in warmer air is because the air is compressible, and sound actually travels faster through less dense materials, but it travels faster through rigid materials too. Okay, materials that are incompressible, like liquids and solids. So that it's not the density necessarily. Sometimes density goes hand in hand, but it's not the density necessarily. It's the rigidity of the material. It's the stiffness of the material. It's the compressibility of the material. Do not. This is not intuitive. You can't just, oh yeah, the molecules are closer together, so it's going to go faster. No, it's not how molecules work, actually. It's not. You can actually Google this. Be careful where you Google because you'll get it wrong, but look at the charts. Okay, look at the charts. Speed of sound goes up when the temperature goes up. Okay, this is physics. This is the gas law. So for your question, sir, ma'am, I don't know what you're actually asking, but I'm going to answer this. Your question, for silencers or suppressed weapons, if you're shooting supersonic ammo, you're going to notice less of a difference with this, like right away. I can tell you that right now. But it's all about where you are. And earlier on I said, before I was talking about the instrumentation, I told you the propagation changes. Well, that's because on the gross scale the propagation changes. There's okay. If you're really close to the source, it's not going to be as big a deal. But if you're far away, there's atmospheric layering that occurs when you get in really cold regions, and even not so cold regions. Like when you have like a cold night, for example, there's atmospherics that change the sound field, and what it is there's different layering of hot and cold air, and the different layers closer to the ground and further away from the ground, and what's happening is you're getting a different propagation of sound. And that's one thing that a lot of people get confused because that happens, and they try to apply that to like the local effects, which is not true. So and the reason why that happens is because sound also travels and it reflects. So people always think it's similar to the argument, like people think that supersonic crack is like super loud, which it is, but it can seem even louder if there's reflecting surfaces where the Mach wave reflects. Or onto which the Mach wave reflects. So this is a multifaceted issue. Okay, so the answer is it depends. So with suppressed weapons, if you're shooting supersonic ammo through a silencer, it's not going to be that big a deal when it's like really cold outside. But if you're going subsonic and you're banking on something being subsonic and you're close to transonic, like meaning you're close to the speed of sound, like at room temperature, and then you go down to like negative 30 Fahrenheit, like you're asking, well, that's probably going to be around 100 foot per second slower or so, or rather the sound speed is in the material, right, in the air. So then what happens? Okay, well, your speed of sound is lower, and now your projectile's going the same speed. So now you went faster than the speed of sound. Well, what happens when you do that? Well, you're going to create a shock wave, aren't you? So that's going to be louder. So you're going to create a discontinuity. So that's what you're doing. What do we do when we go above the Mach number of 1, like we've talked about? Well, we create a discontinuity, create a shock wave. Okay, So your question, sir, ma'am, how does extreme cold affect sound? Like a negative 30 Fahrenheit, I'm a man? Well, if you're a man, you better download your rounds, my friend, if you're shooting subsonic 9mm, so you can get to like 800 feet per second. So when you shoot it, you will not go supersonic. How about that? Or just go to like a 45 ACP. It's already going slower. Okay, question 111, sub-question 40. When are guests coming back on the show? Oh, you called it a show. Oh, thanks, man. That means a lot. Like, you think this is like a real show? That'd be cool, right? To have a show. Oh, it's just me talking to a mic. I think I'll have some eventually. Not at this time. I don't have time right now to deal with guests. I've been on some other podcasts. I'm like, I have such a hectic schedule. I kind of just maybe, you know what I have, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do some podcasts with people and then like release them later. That's what I'll do. Because I don't have time to do it like on the fly. At least not yet. But yeah, good question. If there's a demand, I will certainly, hey, send me tech@pewscience.com. If you actually, guys, if you have a desire for me to interview somebody in the industry or anyone in the world, I'll do it. Like, it's easy. Like, all I have to do is contact them, and what's the worst they can say is no. And then if they say yes, dude, that's super easy to talk to people. I love it. So yeah, send me your suggestions. If you want to see a guest, tell me who you want to see. I'm sure they'll come on if they're cool. So yeah. Question 112, sub question 41. 50 BMG slap round data coming? No. Question 113, sub question 42. What brands do you think are the biggest innovators in the industry right now? Good question. PEW Science is one. I think Q's pretty good for a lot of stuff they're doing that you don't normally see. I think Dead Air has done a lot of stuff that I think doesn't get marketed right. So you don't really see it as innovative, but it is. I think CGS has some cool stuff that I think they do market a little bit, but a lot of people don't understand why it's innovative. I think Thunder Beast. Speaking of Thunder Beast, dude, I think I have a Dominus coming from a listener. He's sending me his personal Dominus to test, so doing that. I think Thunder Beast is innovative in a way. I think they have really good silencers, and I think they tackle problems in a way that's a little bit interesting from an engineering standpoint. I don't know. I'm reserving judgment on a lot of it because I can't speak. Like, in other words, I can't speak to it because I don't want to talk out of turn because I haven't seen some of the stuff. But I don't know. I think like something like the Dominus is the titanium silencer that like can pass the SOCOM schedule. If it's quiet, then that's going to be a huge freaking deal, I think, because there's not a lot like that that are that lightweight and are really good. I mean, some companies have them, but not a lot do. So I think that's cool. That's innovative. I think SIG is probably an innovator. The only problem with that is I'm just not in the know for that. Like, they don't want to talk to me. So like, I don't know what they're doing. Like, I know of some stuff they're doing that I've been watching that I'm really kind of interested in. And I want to say they're innovating a lot. I just wish I had more information on it. I'm excited about some of the stuff coming. So yeah, I mean, that's a few companies, I guess, just off the top of my head. That list probably will sound controversial, but when you have companies like fighting each other, it's probably because they're all competing. And what happens with competition? Well, you get better things. So there you go. I think there's actually probably a lot of companies doing cool stuff you never see, Yeah. Okay. Good question. I mean, I think that's a good question. I think that would be a really good question if we had a guest. Bounce ideas off. Question 114, sub question 43, SOCOM 300 SPS sound signature review anytime soon. Yeah, absolutely. Not soon, but I have tested it once. I had talked about this before. We had a work comp issue, like the RC2. Remember, guys? I talked about this on a previous episode. That was the problem. When I test it again with the proper amount, you'll have some good data for it. Okay. You will. I promise. I need to get the silencer again. Probably should just buy one from Surefire for the historical significance. I've been doing that lately, just buying silencers to keep, just because I should have them in the library as a reference. How much time do we have? We are about an hour in. Okay, let's do one more. Question 115, sub question 44. What do you say to people who question why we need suppressors? Oh, that's a good question. What a great question to end on. I say to them, they probably aren't very familiar with firearms. And if they aren't familiar with silencers. And that's okay. I think that's okay. I think it's all about education. I think having folks shoot suppressed weapons and understand how they work is the first step toward education. I do. In particular, besides being super awesome, I think they provide a great method to assist newer shooters with being introduced to firearms. I do. And you know, a lot of people say that because of recoil and stuff and noise, but I'm not necessarily saying to start them off with suppressed guns. Like, that's not what I'm saying. But I want you to add it. I want you to add the silencer as a complexity, as a variable. I find it helps them to understand what a gun is, how it works, and it helps them understand the physics of the system, right? The power of it all. Like, it's the same respect for a car that you should have when you first start driving, right? It's tremendous power, like more power than a human being can possibly fathom is in a car engine. You get behind. I'll never forget the first time I got behind the wheel of an actual automobile, like an actual, not a go-kart, but like a car, like a full-size car. Like, you remember that when you did that? Like, that amount of power is it doesn't even make sense to the human mind. It's ridiculous, and yet you have to be careful with it. And silencers contain that power. And humans seeing how that happens, I think, is useful for further understanding of combustion. I do. And so there's a lot of power in a firearm. There's a lot of stored energy. And a healthy respect of it is important in understanding it. And I think when you add a silencer to it, it changes the entire thing. And you're like, oh my gosh, what's happening? What just happened to this gun when I fired it? Completely different. And I think it just adds to the system. It adds a level of complexity to where I've never seen a shooter that uses silencers understand guns less than like shooters that like have never used silencers. And I think it's like it forces you to think more. And so I think the sooner like folks can understand those types of components, I think the better your understanding of small arms. And so when you ask me what do I say to people who question why we need suppressors, it's like it's because it's a part of a weapon system. And that's the same thing of questioning firearms. And that need should not be questioned, because that's a defense tool, and that's an inherent human right, no matter where you live in the world. Okay, as long as you're a human, you have the inherent human right to defend yourself. Okay, and certain countries like ours have laws that try to uphold that inherent human right, but the laws do not give you that right. They only defend that inherent human right that you already have. Okay, that's a very good distinction. And with that, we're going to close our spreadsheet. I'm going to highlight question 115. Yeah, did he just get political? He did. Well, no, I got real. Okay. All right. That's great. Man, I love questions. You guys are so great. Okay. Let's see. Go to our little clock here. We're good. We're cooking. We're an hour. We're going to topic 4 an hour at a time of 1 hour. 3 minutes and 57 seconds. Okay. Topic 4. Oh, wait. Oh, no. Was that topic 3 or 4? No. Topic 3. Oh, my gosh. I almost skipped a topic, guys. Okay. You know what I'm going to do? Okay. I'm going to get a mulligan. Topic 3. At a time of 1 hour. 4 minutes and 27 seconds. I'm usually a lot smoother with that. Okay. Yes. Topic 3. Tested last week, and we should be out in the field again this week. God willing. Get a drink. Mother Nature's off her meds. Tested last week by the absolute skin of my teeth. Like, totally pulled it out. Could have been disastrous. Felt like a storm chaser in reverse. We're chasing good atmospherics. We got it done. The logistical burden of Mother Nature. It did create an issue to which I alluded last episode. We didn't get to the 556 with the Mark 18. We didn't get to the Mark 18. But by golly, I'm going to try it again. Unfortunately, the forecast is erratic. It is. And so we're going to see how it goes. But have no fear. My obsession with this will conquer all. It will conquer all. And when it has, you will know. Believe me. Don't worry. Don't worry. I don't think some of you understand like how much this matters to me. So, and by the way, I will say something, and I did mention this earlier. Huge shout out to some help I recently received from some folks, guys. Corporate member Bear Arms out of San Antonio sent me a 338 muzzle brake for the Surefire silencers. I don't have a 338 Surefire silencer, but the brake he sent me works on 308 guns. It's the 5/8 inch threading. So when I get a Surefire silencer to test in 338, I can test it on 308 too. He just gave me that mount just for the test effort. So shout out to Bear Arms, PEW Science member. Also, there's a PEW Science member named Morgan. He sent me a 338 brake for the Thunder Beast silencer I have. I got a 338 Ultra silencer from Thunder Beast that's in the inventory, but I didn't have a mount for it. And so this gentleman, Morgan, he sent me one. He sent me a mount. So yeah, that 338 Ultra will be tested on 338. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be cool. And there are tons of folks wanting that data. I know there are. So I just Googled the silencer in the inventory, the 338 Ultra or Ultra 338 or whatever the model is. I Googled it before I started recording this, and it looks like it's rated down to 16-inch 338 Lapua Magnum, which is really good. See, because I'm going to test it on 20-inch, and so not all 338 silencers can even do 20-inch, guys. They can't. So the fact that this one can go down to 16, I was like, oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness I'll be able to test it. Or thank goodness I won't have to use a longer barrel. It's like I just want to use a 20-inch barrel. It'll make it so good. So we'll do that. So yeah. So just know that your PEW Science contributions are going to good use, not only to data and analysis, but a lot of field time. They are. And so you guys are making this happen, and it warms my heart. It does. It warms my heart. I do appreciate you. Okay. Topic 4. Man, I'm all stuffy today. Topic 4 at a time of 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 56 seconds. Race the clock. Yeah. Oh, man. And this is exciting, guys. This is really exciting. Wonderful new PEW Science corporate support. A big deal to me, actually. And this is actually kind of surprised me a little bit. And I was really honored. A huge thank you to the folks at T.REX ARMS for throwing their hat into the ring. That was really nice. And in addition to them, welcome to all the new PEW Science members in general that you have joined recently. A lot of you have. I think all but 1 or 2 of you I have sent an email to. So I'm getting pretty close to getting caught up. Some more of you came in right as I had finished. I was like, oh, wow, more support. And I just haven't gotten to you yet, but I will. But yeah, so speaking of wonderful support I was just talking about from the folks giving me those mounts, huge thank you to T.REX ARMS. Remember I talked about the guy who runs that company? His name is Lucas. I talked about him around the time I was talking about Mr. Grantham Man. I had mentioned that video they did together there. I remember I talked about this. I do. I remember what I talked about. And I remember saying, because I remember they were shooting, or it was one of the very few YouTube videos I've watched. I don't really watch YouTube. And I remember I watched the video with both of them. They looked like they were doing gun stuff together, like they were gun friends. And they were talking about guns, they were shooting guns. And, they were doing the tip to butt thing with the rifle there. They were talking about their mounts on their guns and what was on each other's rifles. They were saying that to the camera. A lot of people take that for granted. I think it's important to have gun friends, to learn about guns and stuff. I don't know why people get so upset sometimes about other people doing gun stuff. I'm like, yeah, I don't know, man. I thought I was like, wow, both these guys, they have these big gun things they do separately, and they came together, they did a thing. And that was around the time I had met Mike. I spoke with him. He was a really nice person. We spoke on the phone there about silencers, and then I saw that. I was like, oh, wow, maybe these are nice people. And so yeah, like not everyone has friends that are cool and shoot guns. Like that's a lot of people I think take that for granted, and so I think it's cool every time there's an opportunity to make friends that shoot guns. I'm like, dude, let's be friends. Let's shoot guns. Oh, what kind of guns do you have? Oh, I have this. Oh, cool, I have this gun. I don't know, like, don't you guys like making friends? I do. So anyway, and also that Lucas guy shoots really fast, which is cool. So yeah, that's neat. So he and a few of the folks from his company have reached out, and they are really looking to help PEW Science. So that really makes me happy. I'm honored. And so thank you, sir, if you're listening. Thank you to your team. If your team is listening, I do appreciate that. Your support does mean the world, and I hope you find benefit. I hope you find benefit in what PEW Science has created and is continuing to build for the community. Frankly, that's my hope. I hope that you see this as something that will help people. That's what I'm trying to do. So thank you. You are now helping people too through this, more than you already have. So yeah, they're actually, speaking of support, there was some discussion on social media this past weekend in the old Instagram stories there about how consumers are noticing that they only want to support manufacturers and dealers that support PEW Science because they see them as forward-thinking and honest. That was a really big statement, and a lot of you made it. And I shared some of them. Some of them I couldn't share because it was really inappropriate. I mean, I agreed with you, but I couldn't share it. But some of them I did share. Some of them that were more clean. Some of them I shared, and I am inclined to agree, actually, with the sentiment. I'm not saying that manufacturers or dealers have to support PEW Science. Like, come on. Like, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it has turned out to be a pretty good litmus test for folks. Like, it's not perfect. Okay? It's not perfect. Like, there's not everyone who supports PEW Science is going to be rock star. Okay, I'm not saying that. These are people who support PEW Science, not necessarily people PEW Science supports. You get me? These are sponsoring PEW Science. I'm not sponsoring them. So don't get it twisted, okay? So they're throwing their hat in the ring. Okay, that's a really important distinction. Okay, so that being said, if you have seen a logo or a company drop off that page on the request for quote page, and you wondered where it went, sometimes there's nothing wrong, and it just, for whatever reason, that is not happening anymore, and it's totally fine. Like, I wouldn't worry about it. Sometimes it's bad, as you can imagine, right? You know, sometimes people in the industry pick sides. You know what I mean? Like, they see this as like a battle or something. It's weird, dude. But so yeah, sometimes people, I think some folks get convinced that PEW Science is on the wrong side, and they get all weird. And so yeah, but for every strange occurrence like that, there are tons looking to fill their place. So I am happy to have the support of honest, forward-thinking, and helpful dealers who want to help their customers and do so by using honest and real data. I am. And even the manufacturers, you see the manufacturers that join. You know, it is funny. I will say there is one guy, to remain nameless, he's actually, he works for a silencer company. He was talking to me the other day, and he said he was surprised that I allowed silencer companies to join PEW Science. And I was like, why? He's like, well, so-and-so joined, and their silencer's really quiet. They have the best silencer, da-da-da. And I was like, no, I don't think I've said anyone has the best silencer, dude. I was like, I think I show data on my website, and I think that companies who make silencers can join PEW Science to further the state of practice. But there's a bunch of silencer companies that contribute to PEW Science, so it's not just one. There's if you go to go to the request for quote page and look at the manufacturers. They're not just one. There's a bunch of silencer manufacturers, and there's more coming. So I just thought that was really weird, and it came from like a silencer manufacturer who said it. So I was like, huh. I was like, the fact that he didn't understand. I was like, you know what? And he was really smart. So I was like, you know what? It's not that he didn't understand. It's what people are telling him. I was like, that's a shame. I think there's like some kind of misconception. It's like, guys, it is what it is, man. The data is what the data is, and I think that's going to become very clear to you in the future, if it's not clear already. So remember, like I said, the whole point of this is to have honest and forward-thinking and helpful people be able to contribute to stuff, and they do. And that, my friends, is the point of PEW Science. It is, okay? And so with that, stay tuned. Stay tuned for some more data this week. It's going to be great. A lot of you probably don't know what it is. It doesn't matter. This is the best times. So it's coming. It's going to be some analysis for you there, and it'll be talked about and studied and debated. It's fine. What could it be? I don't know. Stay safe, friends. I will talk to you folks again soon. Bye.